and thank you for joining us for this introduction to Dynamics 365, the Business Edition, on February 1st, 2017. Before I get going too far here, I want to pause to make sure that everybody can see my screen, and if you cannot, please jump into the questions box within the GoToMeeting panel and let me know. Brian, if you want to just give me a confirmation you can see my screen, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Perfect, and nobody else is saying they can't, so we'll keep moving along. So for our time today, we're going to start off with just some brief introductions of your presenters. We're going to talk a little bit about the Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Financial Solution. I want to give an orientation to the software. And then we're going to spend the majority of our time doing a live demonstration. And then we'll also have some time towards the end for Q&A. But again, you can use the questions box within the GoToWebinar panel to ask questions throughout, and we'll try to cover those as we go. Introductions. My name is Jonathan Kroll. I'm an account executive here at Enterdyne Artists, and I specialize with the Dynamics 365 solution set. And we also have Brian Dern. He's one of our implementation consultants on as a presenter today. Brian's going to be the one doing the live demo. I fancy Brian as somewhat of a software savant. He loves to pick up new things. He's really good at learning. So he's been really great for picking up the 365 for Financial Solution. So you want to say hey to everyone, Brian?
Hi, everyone. Brian here.
All right. So Microsoft Dynamics 365, a new solution from Microsoft. In the past, you had your productivity tools such as Outlook separated from your business processes or your accounting software essentially. But Microsoft has created this new vision where they want to bring these two systems together. And with Microsoft Dynamics 365, that's exactly what they've done. You've got a perfect harmony. Everything speaks to one another. It's a really tight integration between your Outlook and your accounting software to increase your productivity of your employees. So what exactly is Microsoft Dynamics 365? So it is Microsoft's first true cloud accounting or ERP offering, which is Enterprise Resource Planning Solution. And there are two editions. So there's a business edition, which the 365 for Financial Solution is the only application within the business edition. But there's also an enterprise edition, and that's going to have a lot of the CRM functionality, your sales and your customer service, field service, project service automation. It also has operations, which is essentially Dynamics AX7. But today we're going to focus on the business edition, the Dynamics 365 for Financials piece. And we really can't drill this home enough. This really is a reinvention of the way that accounting and productivity software work together. Again, a really tight integration between not just Outlook, but the other Office applications such as Excel and Word with your accounting software. It's available through multi-platforms. You've got it on a desktop. You can access it through your web browser. You can access it on a tablet. Again, whether you're going to go into the web browser or you can download the free application. And there's also a free application for the phone. So you really have access on multiple different devices, which really gives you the ability to utilize the solution from wherever you're at. You got mobility. And it's also interoperability. So not only is it on Windows devices, but Apple and Android products as well. That's the new theme by Satya Nadella, is interoperability, and they're really doing a great job with that. I want to talk a little bit about the capabilities of the solution. Financial management, your general ledger, accounts payable, accounts receivable, fixed assets, all included. We also have inventory management, a sales module, so some lightweight quoting, to converting those into orders, purchasing as well from your vendors, and project management, which is the jobs module. That's where we're going to spend the bulk of our time here today. That's what we want to be able to demonstrate to you folks. So creating new jobs, assigning resources, doing billing off of those jobs, the full spectrum of it, and there's also ability to go in and enter time towards a job as the resources are out in the field completing the tasks. So that was the quick orientation to Dynamics 365, and I'm going to pause quickly to see if there's any questions that are rolling in. And got one asking about pricing, which is obviously important. We're going to cover that a little bit later after the demo, so definitely hold tight and we'll get to that here a little bit later. And let's see any other questions. So Brian, I'm going to hand this over to you.
All right.
Okay, take it away.
All right, everyone. Can y'all see my screen? Jonathan, you see it?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So today I'm going to give you a live demo of the jobs module. So here's kind of what we have on the agenda for today. First, I'm going to give you an overview of the entire module, and we'll be using the project manager role today, and I'll kind of explain what that means. And we'll go over some of the reporting on the jobs. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Let me tab over to my system here. Just resume the connection real quick. Yep. So yeah, you'll go into the Office portal that you would log into to get all of your apps, and you would just hit the Dynamics 365 tile, and that'll bring up your web interface. So this is the home screen of Dynamics 365 for Financials as the project manager. I'm using the project manager role center, and pretty much all that means is that just dictates what navigation shortcuts I have. It doesn't actually deny me access to anything. So as an admin, I can still access everything I want, even though it might not be a navigation shortcut. But the project manager, it's really the best role center for dealing with the jobs module. And so yeah, let's get right into a brief overview. You've got your ribbon up here. It's kind of the same type of layout that you have on most of your Office apps. You've got a ribbon with different actions up here. I can create new jobs right from the home screen, new job journal lines or job geo lines. I can see a list of various reports right from my home screen. And I can create timesheets or approve timesheets right from here as well. And then I can also close jobs and calculate WIP. And then over here on the navigation pane, I have a list of the other areas I can go to, and we'll get into that. And then in the main window here, we've got a lot of different things. These are called action tiles. And you'll notice they have some numbers on them. So these are my invoices due but not created. So I've got some billable lines on my jobs that I haven't invoiced for. And if I wanted to see what makes up that number, I can just click on these and it'll tell me what makes up that number. So I've got some job tasks on these jobs here that I haven't billed for. But let me hit the home button here to go back to the home screen. And then these are just some other tiles that I can use to create a new job journal, or a sales invoice. So I can create a job here or go up here and use the same action to create a job. So you can just do things a couple different ways. And then I've got some charts and KPIs over here for my job profitability and my job actual to budget costs. I see a list of my jobs here and various pieces of information. And if I wanted, I could see different columns or hide some columns if I'm not necessarily interested in something. And then I've just got some more metrics over here. And what you can also do is you can connect your system to Power BI and create dashboards and reports and attach those right to the home screen. So moving back to the navigation pane here, I can navigate to all of my jobs, and if I click the expansion button, I can see a list of the different statuses that these jobs are in. So if I click on jobs, it'll just give me a list of all my jobs, no matter what status they're in. I can see a list of my job tasks for all of my jobs. I can see a list of sales invoices that may apply to these jobs, and then at the same time, any credit memos that will apply to jobs, purchase orders that maybe I bought items for a job, and then invoices that a vendor has invoiced me for items on a job. and then I can see a list of my resources. And resources in Dynamics 365 Financials just refers to either an employee or a machine. Usually something that you would that you can bill for, or you want to allocate and schedule time for. And then I can see a list of my items, and I can add items to jobs. So if I'm consuming an item as part of the job, I can add that to a job. And then I can see a list of my customers, and then I can see a list of timesheets, the timesheets and their various statuses. And then the manager timesheets, that's where I would go to approve timesheets, and we'll kind of get into that. So one of the main things I wanted to touch on is the reporting. Now there's quite a bit of reports in the jobs module right out of the box. So I just clicked on a list of all my jobs here, and I clicked on the reports tab in the ribbon, and I get a whole list of reports here. I can see my job actual to budget cost or price. I can see a report of all my job planning lines for a particular job. I can see the suggested billing based on what's been completed but not billed. I can see a list of jobs by customer and their costs or their price. I can see a list of items on a job, or a list of jobs that use a particular item. But my absolute favorite one is the jobs analysis here, and I'll show you why. I can choose what columns I want to see in this report, and if I have multiple currencies, I can see it in my local or the originating foreign transaction currency. But that's why this one's my favorite, is because I can choose what columns I want to see. So I'm not cluttering the page with a lot of stuff I don't want to see. And then I can also get down into the transaction level detail, and then the job register, which is essentially everything that's happened to that job. So that's the reporting for the jobs right out of the box. And as you can see, there's quite a few reports. So let's see what else we have on the agenda. So next, I'll go through creating an actual job, and then we'll create some job tasks. And then as part of those job tasks, we'll assign some resources to it and an item. And then once we assign a resource to a job task, we can actually pull that job task into their timesheet. And I'll show you how to do that. So let's navigate back here. All right, so to create a job, if I'm on my home screen, all I would have to do is I could either click on New Job, click on Job here, or go to my Jobs menu and click New. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, I'm going to tab off of the number field, and it'll generate a number for me. So I really just need to add a description for this. We'll say, I don't know, maybe we're furnishing an apartment. We're a furniture company. And so the bill to customer, that's going to be winery, and that was just something. I have a little add-on that'll define words if you highlight them. And then I'm going to add a project manager. I'm going to add myself. I'm the admin, so I'm just going to add that. So that's just the basic header data for the job. And now I'm going to add job tasks to this job. And the job tasks are just at a high level, what are the steps that need to be accomplished for this job. Now, it doesn't include the details of how you accomplish that task. It's just a high level, this is what needs to be done. And you can really get as granular with this as you like. For the purpose of this, I'm going to make it simple. So we're just going to create a job task row, so GT. And then I'm going to add a description to this. So it's going to be initial presentation. And we're going to just make all these a posting row. You could set up like phases. If you had a like phase 1 would be you would have a phase 1 big heading row, and that would be your begin total. Then you'd have a total row for the phase 1 total. That would be your end total. And then everything, all the posting job tasks in between that could be rolled up into that end total row, so that you could bill off that if you needed to. And that's what you would use this field for here. The other stuff that gets filled in when you actually fill in the job planning lines, so let's go ahead and do that. So we filled in our job task, just the first job task. It's the initial consultation. So I'm going to go to the job planning lines now. And these are going to be the, we're going to assign resources, items, or GL expenses to this job task. And these are the things that, these are the costs that our company is going to incur as part of this job task, and in turn, this is what we're going to bill the company, the client. So I'm going to pull up my job task, this job task 100. Line type, for this one, I'm going to do both billing and both budget and billable. If you post it to a budget, obviously it'll go into your budget figures, and you can compare budget to billable. Also, if you post a budget line item for a resource, it'll schedule that resource and allocate their time. And then billable, you're only able to create invoice lines from a billable line. So if you needed to schedule the time and be able to bill from it, you'd do budget and billable. So the job planning date, I'm going to make it my system date, which is 1/18/17 today. And if I had maybe a quote or something, I could add that number here. But so this is the line number. All right. So like I said, we can add a resource, which is an employee or machine. Can add an item or a GL account, or a text line. A text line would really just be a description. There wouldn't be any cost associated with it. So we're going to add a resource, and I have to tell it what resource. So this is a list of all of my employees, and I'm going to schedule Linda Martin's time for this. She's going to be the consultant on this, and I'm going to estimate that it's going to be 2 hours. That it's going to take her 2 hours. This is the cost that our company incurs as part of her time, and then this is what we bill the customer, and then that's just the total quantity times the unit price there. So since this is now a plannable line, or it's on our planning lines, we can actually bring that into the Linda Martin's timesheet for this week. So let me go ahead and go through that. So I'm going to click on this gray bar here to navigate back to the last window I was on. And I can keep doing that to go backwards through the windows. And now we see our job down there. And I'm pretty sure I've already created Linda Martin's timesheet. But if I were to need to create a new one, I would just go to timesheets. And as the timesheet administrator, I'm allowed to create new timesheets. And really all I do is create new timesheet, and then you would tell it which timesheet to create. And then you can do all employees' timesheets or just a specific one, and it would create the next timesheet in the sequence. So for her, it would be the next week. But I've already created this timesheet, so let me go into it. And now I'm going to hit the create lines from job planning, and so it's going to pick up that one job line that we planned, and it's going to fill in the job number and the job task number so that when Linda logs in and enters her time, she doesn't have to fill in all that, or she doesn't have to remember that it was job task 100 for job 110. So I can do that as the timesheet administrator. Now let's pretend I'm Linda Martin now. All I would do is I would either log into the web interface, or I could pull up this same window on my phone, and all she would have to do is come and say how much time she spent on this task for this week. So maybe she did the 2 hours on Wednesday when we scheduled her. And then that's pretty much all she has to do. She'll enter her time, and then she'll hit submit, and we'll submit the all open lines. And that's really all she has to do to enter her time in for this job. So let's go back to the agenda and see where we are. All right, so we covered adding tasks and the timesheet generation. All right, so I got a little ahead of myself. We already copied the line from the job, and then we sent that off for approval. So let me show you how you can actually go in and approve that that timesheet. Let me navigate back real quick. Oops, and so Linda Martin would log in and do this herself, and then either me or the timesheet administrator would come in and go to the manager timesheets, and then we'll see her timesheet here, and we see that submitted exists for this one. So we know we have something that we need to approve or reject. So all I do is click on that. I'll take a look at this. It's 2 hours for this job task on this job. hit approve, approve all submitted lines, and now it's approved. And so now that it's approved, we can actually bill it to the customer. So I think that's the subject of the next portion of the agenda. So we copied the job from the timesheet, and then we approved it. So now let's go over actually billing that time and then creating the invoice. So let's navigate back. So we've approved her timesheet, so now approved exists. So let's go back to the job. We'll go into the job. And now I'm going to go into the job planning lines. And now to actually post what's really happened, we'll go to the job journal. And now you'll see this suggest lines from timesheets. So that's what we're going to click on. We're just going to have it look at the timesheet and see if there's any lines that apply to this job, and it'll pull those in. So we're going to click on it, select timesheets for Linda, and I'm just going to filter it to this job. She may have some lines for some other jobs. I don't want to deal with those right now. So you'll see that it pulled in that job number, that job task, and then her time. And so now we need to make this a billable line so that we can bill this to the customer. And document number, and then we just hit post. And yep, we want to post the lines. And the posting was successful. That's good. So now we'll go back here, and you'll notice that we have a quantity to transfer to invoice now. We have 2 hours that we need to transfer to an invoice. So it's really easy to transfer this and create an invoice. All I would do is click the Create Sales Invoice button. And it's going to ask me if I want to create a new invoice. If I had a previous invoice that I want to just keep adding lines to, I could append a previously created one. Yeah, let's change the posting date here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and create this invoice. And it's working. Lines are successfully transferred. We're going to hit OK. All right, so let's click on that. And there's the invoice. We can click Open Sales Credit. Oops. And then there's our invoice. And then we can add stuff to it if we need to, or we can just post this and send that. And that's that. And then you can also set up a deferral template that automatically defers your income based on your recognition. And so that's the basic process of, yeah, we're going to leave that unposted for now. That's the basic process of creating a job, adding a resource, and then adding time to that job, and then billing for that time. So does anybody have any questions about any of that?
I don't see any questions specific to the, oh wait, we got some rolling in. Does the invoicing process update inventory items?
Yes, if you were to add an inventory item to the job line, if I were to add an item, when I go to bill that item, once I posted the sales invoice, it would decrement inventory at that time. And there's a bunch of other stuff I have to fill in, but yeah. But yes, to answer your question, the sales invoice would update inventory.
Okay, excellent. And we got a question, Brian, about the document number that you typed in there.
That is, I just made that up. It's a required field. Don't ask me why. If you had a like a quote number, that's where I would enter that. Otherwise, it's not really necessary. I have asked the developers why it's a required field, but they have not gotten back to me yet.
That's fair. I wanted to make sure we're covering all the questions that were coming in, though. I don't see any more at this moment in time. I do have a couple more slides I want to cover, but also I have pulled up the mobile app on my phone so that I could show that to everyone. I know that Brian mentioned the ability to go in and fill out a timesheet on your phone, but you actually have pretty full functionality on the mobile application. So it looks pretty similar to the home screen. And you've got the KPIs, the favorite accounts. There's a financial statement there, report inbox, and some quick add items here. But if we scroll all the way back to the left to the main section here, and then we'll scroll down, you can see under self-service there's timesheets. So you can actually go in there and enter time right there again on your mobile device. So it's easy for your folks that are out there in the field that are working that don't necessarily always have a laptop with them or the ability to hop onto a computer. So just want to make sure that we got the chance to show that. So the other items from one of our first questions, pricing. How do you buy Dynamics 365 for financials? So again, we're talking about the business edition pricing here, and as it currently stands, the financials module is the only application available in the business edition, and it's $40 per user per month. There's also going to be some CRM applications that they're going to roll out either late spring or early summer, so there should be some sales and customer service and marketing applications to be available at that point in time. There's also the idea of a business plan, where essentially you can pay a $50 price and get access to all of the apps. So that's good for folks that need to be in multiple areas or doing multiple things within your organization. There's also Power Apps. That's a really nice tool to be able to create your own applications and connect them to your Office 365 environment. But the business team members, so that's essentially a light user within the system. Actually, I wanted to make sure that we just talked a little bit more about what a team member license can do versus a full user within the Financials app. So again, it's good for folks that are entering in timesheets. If that's all they do, they're just out in the field, they need to be able to enter their time. You can essentially just get them that team member user versus a full user. They can also create requisitions and enter quotes, modify some personal information, and do some updates and reading access throughout the system. Whereas the full user, of course, has full read-write access to the entire solution, assuming that you have the proper securities in place to be able to access the different modules. So how do you buy Dynamics 365 for financials? It's exclusively sold through Microsoft partners like Interdyne Artist. We are a cloud solutions provider, so we're able to place that order for you. But beyond just placing an order, I mean, we can help you set up free trials. We do training, we do data conversion, we do the full implementation process for clients, and then we support the solution ongoing as well. So, you know, we can get you up and running, and then we're certainly there to help answer any questions or help you with any issues that come up along the way. And that is all that we have for today. I know we've got a couple more questions coming in, so I want to make sure that we cover some of these, or all of these if we can. Currently use Dynamics GP. Can you replace it with this product? Does any history transfer? So that's a great question. And Dynamics 365 for financials is not necessarily intended to be a replacement for other Dynamics solutions. One thing that we haven't talked a lot about are some of the other modules, such as manufacturing, or if you have heavy distribution needs. But it's dependent on your organization. That's conversations that we're more than happy to have with you to understand. Is Dynamics 365 something that's worth your time evaluating, or do you continue with something like Dynamics GP, or maybe even look at one of the other Dynamics products? That's exactly those. That's the help that we're definitely willing to provide for you. Annual Microsoft licensing fees apply. So it is a subscription or a subscription SaaS-based solution. So you pay your monthly fee, and there are no additional fees as far as the software is concerned for the licensing side. Very good questions that are coming in. So I'll finish up with this last slide, but again, I'll keep an eye on the questions. So please feel free to reach out to us directly at info@interdyneartist.com, or you can give us a call at 704-846-6750. Again, we can have some side conversations about how does Dynamics 365 fit into your organization. Is it something worth evaluating? We do offer the other Dynamics products as well. So again, those are conversations we can help you navigate. If you'd like to just jump on our website at www.interdyneartist.com you can learn more about the solutions that we offer, but also the services that we provide as well. We'll keep the line open. I know we're at 2:30 now, but we'll keep the line open for a minute or two longer just in case more questions roll in. But we do appreciate everyone's time for joining us, and we will post this video onto YouTube for further viewing. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Jonathan.